Ayo, lucky listeners. Welcome back to the Luck Management Podcast. I'm your host, Carter Loesch, and today, episode number 62 with 1985 graduate Kathleen Keifer. Kathleen was incredible, and she does official art for the University of Notre Dame. She is a California-based artist, but she goes to all the games. She takes pictures and murals all from around campus. It is some of the most stunning and beautiful work. I love her artwork, and you can check her out at Kathleen Keifer Artist on Instagram, and she has a website. But today's conversation was just based around her passion and her love for the work that she does and how she's maybe felt lucky, and she has some amazing quotes on luck and speed. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout to hear her life and how she grew to do what she does and finding your passion where you can fit in too. So keep living the luck management lifestyle. Let's do it. Welcome back to the Luck Management Podcast with your host, Carter Loesch. Today is November 14th, 2023, episode number 63, brought to you by CharmND. And today we have on an incredibly special and wonderful guest to the podcast. We have Kathleen Keifer, Notre Dame 1985, an official Notre Dame art vendor and artist. She is a California-based and internationally collected artist, which great tagline, by the way. And she's a leading force in the new California realism. Based out in Manhattan Beach, California, Kathleen has some of the most beautiful and impressive Notre Dame paintings that I have seen. And I want to literally decorate my whole house with her art because it embodies that Notre Dame feel, and I absolutely love it. So everyone, all the luckies out there, give a warm welcome to Kathleen Keifer. Welcome to the podcast.
Carter, I am feeling lucky for being here. What an introduction. Wow.
Thank
Go
you.
Irish.
Go Irish. I'm so glad that we were able to connect. And I want to tell you, the first time I ever saw your art was a few months ago. It was mentioned to me, and I took a look at your Instagram page, and immediately, I mean, as a Notre Dame fan, you know you can't get away from the Dome. The Dome will follow you everywhere you go. And some of those photos with the fall leaves and the foliage, it made me feel like I was right back there.
Hey, it's so nice to hear. I mean, you're just looking. I actually have two Instagrams. I have a Notre Dame Instagram, Kathleen Keifer Artist, and then Kathleen Keifer Fine Artist is for like my California stuff and my other art. But I am telling you, Carter, I get chill bumps every time I drive down Notre Dame Avenue. I always feel like I'm coming home. I mean, maybe that's why I paint it so often, but
Yeah.
It is. It's like, wow, happy. I'm flying up tomorrow and I'm excited.
Yeah. So just to get started there on that, talk to me a little bit about your Notre Dame connection and, how you get to go to these games and what you do at these games.
Okay. So it's kind of you're asking we're going to do like history and current. Okay. So history. I mean, how many people get to say, my grandfather played football for Newt Rockne?
That's incredible.
My grandfather, Frank O'Toole, from San Diego. He played, he went to Santa Clara for high school. He played football for Newt Rockne, class of 1928.
Oh my gosh. Oh, a different life, a different world.
Yeah. I mean, Newt Rockne asked him to write a poem for the 1926 Football Review. I mean, that's not, that's a different world, right? Where we're writing poetry. Well, I could definitely see players today writing like a rap song or something. I could see that.
But different, a way different world, and look at it. Wow.
Culturally, a much different world. My father's class of 1955, and I'm one of 8 siblings. And of the 8 of us, 5 of us went to Notre Dame. And right now I have 2 nieces and a nephew at Notre Dame. So
Wow. Okay.
that makes me a triple legacy. That makes, those guys. Timmy O'Toole is a freshman. Go Timmy.
Yeah.
He's a quadruple legacy.
He's leading. Yeah, he's leading the charge on all the history and the beauty. I feel like the other 3 are probably the black sheep of the family, huh? That didn't go.
Well, one of them's a priest, so you can't say that, Carter.
Oh no. Okay. Good. He's got the Lord on his side because his family was going to give him a hard time otherwise. Wow, that's a beautiful story, and that's something that I've come to see from Notre Dame. So my dad, he was in grad school. He graduated in 1986. He got his MBA. I came back to get my MSM degree, and ever since I was a little baby, I had, Irish gear, Irish everything, Irish things hanging up. Everywhere I look, there's always a little bit of Irish. And now my brother is currently getting his MBA at Notre Dame.
Nice.
And so we always like to joke we're a family of grad school goers to Notre Dame. But it's amazing to see the people that have been here for years, for many, many years, and have the tradition. But it's also beautiful to see somebody new come into Notre Dame, no connection beforehand, and then they get it. Like, all you need is 1 year. All you need is a couple months of a football season.
1 hour.
Yeah.
Sometimes I meet people when I'm on campus, and it's their first time at Notre Dame, and I want to instantly drop everything I'm doing and say, "Let me give you a tour." I know every sit-up, but I don't often have the time, but I love Notre Dame. It feels like home to me every time I drive up Notre Dame Ave.
Yeah, let me give you the rundown. Let me tell you the cool spots to go to. And the welcoming feel that you have there, everything is just pristine. You know that you're surrounded by high quality people, but also, you know, a mission that is trying to move forward a lot of different things. So you have this history, and now you work for Notre Dame, with Notre Dame. What is that connection like for it?
Oh, I've got a studio in the Innovation Park, right on Angela and Leahy. So I'm
Yeah,
working with. I love having a place there to work. So for the football season, I am out there living. I'm in South Bend. I'm living there. I'm experiencing every game. Sometimes I'm on the sideline. I painted live at a tailgate that ABC 57 covered. That was a riot.
yeah.
Um, I just love picking up sort of the visual thing, the cultural thing, and Carter, I love you know seeing everyone. I'm always inspired by being on campus, and it's not just
Mhm.
like, wow, look at the light on alumni right now. That's part of it, but another part is just, like you said, meeting the people. It's our golden family, and it's so exciting to be at games and see who's in town, who I get to see, and um, you know, you get to know everybody who watches the game near you. It is
And
so much flipping fun.
and usually you get a win, right? Like, that's the beauty of it too. You usually get to see some good football. Of course, you have to have a little bit of anguish and a little bit of typical Notre Dame football craziness, but I love that at the same time.
I would say last year, the Boston College game when it snowed, and the Clemson game
Hmm.
where I stormed the field, and I hadn't stormed the field since Harry Oliver's 1980 kick when I was in high school. So that was,
You
two of the
you
fun
were
games.
storming with me then.
Yeah, I was out there with you. I lost my iPhone in the mums. That was bad, but it was worth it, because we just humiliated Clemson. That was fantastic. And USC game, living here, absolutely imperative that we beat the Trojans, or I have to put up with those smack talkers all year. So that was a
You have to.
fantastic
Yeah.
too.
That is pride right there. I 100% agree with you. So these those two games from last year, the Boston College game when it just started to snow almost a foot and a half in the third
So,
quarter was
so much.
out of this world. And a little bit of background on that story was I had one of my best friends from Atlanta come and visit me, and the climate was cold. We had set up a tailgate with the MBA class, and so there was 150 people out there. And I picked up as much Dunkin' Donuts as you have ever seen in your entire life. We picked up all the pizza that we could do, and we're tailgating out there in 30-degree weather. Also, at that same time, my dad invites three of his friends from North Carolina. You know, the blood is a little bit thinner down south, and they could not handle the cold. They were going back and forth to the Dick's Sporting Goods. They were getting as many like seat warmers, everything that they could get. My dad was just trudging them along, and they had the best time in the world. And it was a core memory, but just to see those guys have that experience of one of the coolest football games. Yeah, we killed them, but like the feeling of being at that stadium in those moments, so special.
It was so special. Yeah, unforgettable
And
game.
I actually went to USC this year. So I went and saw that game, and it was one of the most beautiful games to watch. Our offense was clicking, our defense played well. There was the best energy out there, and it was good weather for the most part.
Oh, it was a beautiful day. I mean, first time in Notre Dame history we saw fireworks. So that was a historic moment. And yeah, Caleb
Was that your
Williams is
first
on
time
the
ever?
sideline. Yeah, first time ever. Um, they were actually, we bought them for Ohio State, but we know how that game went. And Caleb Williams was on the sideline, kind of working on his manicure a lot of the game. So that was a very fun game.
I like the way you brought that up. Yeah, it was fun to storm. It was good to see, hey, a quarterback that is probably going to go number one, how our defense impacted and made a change right there. So awesome. So I always love to get into a little bit of Notre Dame right in the on the onslaught. It gets me excited. It gets me going. But we will move into a little bit of the podcast. So, the first question I got to ask, and something that I build out the luck management philosophy. So, the way that I've designed this podcast is luck management refers to like optimizing and capitalizing on those chance opportunities. So, it's the luck meets opportunity. So, if you're put into a favorable experience, if you have potential risks, how are you managing your luck? How are you managing that opportunity to be strategic, adaptable, and like prepared to take on those risks? So I think anybody can employ luck management at the end of the day to improve their outcomes, but it all just comes back to uh, luck is determined by a lot of hard work and being in the right place at the right time, taking those strides. And so I have to ask you, what are your thoughts on luck?
Okay, art's an emotional business. It's when you buy a painting, it's emotional. I think I sold the original of the latest USC game with the fireworks. I'm there. I did a painting based on photography for my seat. I think that sold within 5 minutes of when I posted it. That was an emotional purchase by that buyer. I'm going to quote Lou Holtz now. I have found in my career a quote he said that I think is extremely true. It's luck follows speed. And when you're
Yeah.
in a business like I have, which is you don't need to buy, right? It's a visceral purchase. And I feel like I have to I have to have a team around me and I have to be adaptable enough to come up with a product, a new painting in a timely way. While that game is the most important emotional note in people's lives. Um, I did
Yeah.
one of the double overtime Clemson victory. When Ian Book, we pulled that thing out. It's in the painting was called Pandemic, and all the students ran onto the field. It was an emotional moment, and that edition is almost sold out because of those 10,000 kids who ran on that field. The the last class is graduating this year. They're going to be their class of 24, and
Right.
that's like one of their emotional highlights of their 4 years at Notre Dame. And one of the ways I partner with Notre Dame is they could not condone being a pandemic. I mean, they could not condone the kids running on the field at the end of the game. It was not,
Yeah.
it was not protocol. So, Matt Cashmere, the official photographer of Notre Dame, he could not publish any of his photographs he took during that game. But he sent
Oh,
everyone to
come
me,
on.
and of course, I was not at that game. I painted my television screen because I figured that's the way 10 million people saw that game, and only 10,000 were like a little abstract glob in the middle of the field. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
that's lovely that Matt thinks of me and knows I can be outside the lane a little bit because I'm an independent artist and I'm not employed by the university.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool how you have that connection of being able to have a studio there, but you are able to get a more real feel alumni but also fan view of what those moments feel like of sitting in the stadium and luck following speed. I think so too. I think as we continue to just mull over decisions or don't take that stride to, go after something, we lose a lot of the opportunity right in front of us.
Yeah, and enthusiasm. I mean, if I'm working on a painting that's not coming, I mean, at this point in my career, I have a lot of I had that feeling of being in the zone with mastery. Like this is just working. It's everything's moving quickly. But if it stops moving quickly, I've sort of learned to just move on to something else. Um, so
Wow.
you know, and I often do circle back to projects I've abandoned. But I think you've got to be super clear headed when you run a business that um, you don't go forward on a project based on how much time and money and emotional stuff you put into it. You always have to look at it from this point forward.
Well, that's 100% the truth. And that's something that you took a look at my Charm ND and you were seeing that I do this small little business of like the emotions and the feelings of being around campus and like having these like little keychains and doing these earrings and going about what works or what students would want or alumni would want. And sometimes you got to be ready to say, like, I had no idea that was going to be successful. Oh,
Yes.
wow, this piece is incredibly successful. And so you have to be ready to just change or like be okay with that.
No, absolutely. I mean, first to market, I think that's part of luck philosophy. I also think being very flexible and fluid. And I love a platform like Instagram because you can post something every day and you'll get immediate response, like on how
Yep.
popular something is. I remember once during the pandemic, like so 2020, I posted a really what I thought a depressing photograph of the exit 77 sign was that says South Bend Notre
Mm-hmm.
Dame exit 2 miles. And I did it in black and white. It was during a blizzard. And I did it as a commentary on none of us can go to the games this year. I was feeling depressed about not being able to be at Notre Dame. And
Oh,
suddenly,
wow.
this thing got 1,000 likes. And I wasn't even planning to make it a piece of art. But clearly, just showing that sign in the winter on the side of the road, it had struck such an emotional chord with so many people. I immediately revisited it as a piece of art and put it on my website.
Yeah, that's incredible. That's amazing how, something that we just see as so normal. But art is 1,000 words. Every painting, every picture, the description. I want to get into that and like that philosophy behind that. Heyo, lucky listeners. The Luck Management Podcast is always brought to you by Charm ND. Charm ND, the idea from me of giving yourself university relics, having a piece of Notre Dame in your hand wherever you go, on your keys, on your neck, on your ears, wherever. I love this endeavor, and I just want to show you a few of the new things that we've been working on and trying to bring for the people. So in this time of blessings and, a lot of craziness going on in the world, what we've done and what I've done is went to the Grotto and I was able to get a bunch of candles, made my donations there. But what I've done is I've actually put the candle wax into these vials. And so it also has a little Irish shamrock. And so when you wear this or you make a prayer, it's going to Mother Mary in the grotto. You're praying on the same wax and blessings that are bestowed there. The next thing we have in the bestseller, you know what it is. It's the Notre Dame earrings. They are the football helmets where they use the same gold that they use on the football helmets on these little earrings. They're my favorite little earrings. They're perfect for game day, perfect for Christmas, whatever. Speaking of Christmas, we have created little ornaments that have pieces from around campus. So that's the dirt with 24 karat gold markings so you can hang up on the tree. Then you also have, once again, the Irish look right here. Oh, it's not working for me. There we go, the Irish right here. Then you also have the pellets from the AstroTurf field. And you have the wood shavings from the old seats of Notre Dame. So the redwood of Notre Dame. One of my favorites too is also a bracelet of Notre Dame. So I wanted to figure out a way where somebody could wear Notre Dame gear a little bit easier. And sometimes it's hard to do that, but I created a bracelet where it has the Notre Dame helmet and it has the Irish on there. So you can wear it as a dangle, you can wear it wherever you like. Perfect gift for any sort of loved one. And then last but not least, my pride and joy, the thing that kicked off this piece and this work at building out Charm ND is the old keychain. And what I've done here is we have a copper top. We have the pieces, we have, dirt and soil from around campus with gold, 24 karat gold flakes. We have a 24 karat gold shamrock. We also have, pellets from the AstroTurf field. And then we have the wood shavings from the old seats of the stadium. Those you can put a helmet on there, you can do whatever you like, highly customizable. Just find my Instagram account at charm_ND and know that I love being able to give and provide and help with a piece of Notre Dame. It's something that drives me, it's something that fuels me, it's something that gives me great joy when I can send you a piece of Notre Dame. You can have a real feel of the culture. So go Irish and go Charm ND. So much more so in this episode. So that's awesome. But what we'll get started here is episode number 62. So what I've come to do is actually look at, I've done 62 episodes, but I look at this thing called an angel number. And now angel numbers come out and they talk about significance on what it's like angels are kind of doing in this world. And it says, seeing the angel number 62 is a sign from the universe that your angels and guides are acknowledging and supporting your efforts to balance your material needs with your soul's purpose. So they're encouraging you to trust your intuition and inner wisdom and to have faith that all the material needs will be met as you follow your true calling. And more so than anything, I think, I don't know how you think about this, but I think artists and artistry, they're not always the most lucrative professions unless you're Picasso or something, but you have to do it because you love it and you care for it. So I just thought that this was a perfect episode. It's number 62, acknowledging like the angel numbers of having an artist like you and an artist like me doing the podcast coming together.
Okay. I do feel deeply about what you just said, because I feel that the luckiest thing about my life is I think I'm doing exactly what I was put on this planet to do. Like, I feel like I'm
It's amazing.
100% utilizing the talents that were given to me. Um, I mean, my primary intelligence is visual spatial. I mean, I would have been like a miserable insurance agent my entire life. I mean, I, um, I mean, and I'm unusual as an artist in that I'm extroverted. I've got a ton of entrepreneurial stuff in me. I love meeting people. I have, 1 million ideas all the time. So I, whatever concoction of my personality, I think I'm living my best life. And I feel so incredibly fortunate, because I have never not had an art exhibition where someone hasn't come up to me and said, I really wanted to be an art major, but my parents didn't think that was a good idea. Or, clearly, even what you just said,
Yeah,
Carter, you said, well, we all know that, it's not the most lucrative profession in the world. And I don't see that in LA. I see the graphic design guild, the art directors guild. I see so many hugely successful visual spatial thinkers in my universe
right.
that I think this is like, it's just a trope. I mean, it's like a trope from La Boheme or something, that, oh yeah, the starving artist, getting consumption in their attic garret. No, 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 no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. I mean, I think the visual arts. I mean, I am very worried about AI, just taking over stuff like graphic design. But I don't know. I think that having a visual spatial intelligence puts you in a very unique place in this world.
Beautifully said. I think even more so as AI comes, I think there's going to be an even bigger need for human interaction, human touch, real feel, because it's definitely not perfect right now. The way that you look at some of that art or things that they do make, it doesn't have that soul to it. And I appreciate you saying that, like you following your passion and doing something. I am doing this podcast and it talking to people, communicating with people and learning a little bit about their lives and what made their lives special, or like how they want to share it with others, is a passion that I have. And so you do feel like when you're sitting and doing your true calling, life is a little bit easier and you're able to move a little quicker and you get a little bit luckier.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel like I'm in this blessed flow state, and things are just coming to me, and I didn't always feel that way in my life. So I'm in awe and grateful at the way things are going.
I know that's like beautiful for my heart, and I think beautiful for the listeners, because there's a lot of people that are looking for that at that time. So, um, the next part we like to do is a little fun fact of the day and this day in history. So, sticking on the art side of things, art competitions were part of the Olympic Games from 1912 to 1948. They literally gave out bronze, silver, and gold medals to countries for making an art exhibition back in the day.
Wow, I did not know that. I am going to jump into that rabbit hole as soon as we are done with this podcast. That's amazing.
Isn't that crazy? Like you being there and you see somebody on the other side competing with you to make it a piece of art as quick as possible.
Well, I mean, it's so subjective that it seems ridiculous to me, you know. but um, but I will say that I have great confidence in the public, in my collectors. I think that the strongest art sells first. So I'm not so sure. I mean, of course, judging art is subjective, but I think that even if you're not like a trained artist, I kind of think you're going to select the strongest piece out of intuition.
right? It's in the eye of the beholder at a moment.
Yeah.
I have some pieces in my apartment or just art that I've collected that I would never give up in my entire life, but somebody might just see it and just be like, "Oh, cool." It's the
Right, right,
connection.
right. Yeah, it's a connection.
So the next one is that this day in history. So in 1851, Moby Dick was published, and I have never read it fully, but so much of American history, so much of life is intertwined with Moby Dick and like the teachings there. But I did watch. I don't know if you saw that latest movie, The Whale, that won an Oscar. But just thought that was interesting that a book that came out over 170 years ago still has an impact in everyday life.
Yeah, it really does. Good for you, Herman Melville. We're still talking about you.
Yeah, right. That's how you live on, right? You never actually die until someone doesn't say your name anymore. And he's been living for hundreds of years now. It's beautiful. Um, Next thing we like to do is a little bit of a highs of the week. So, what positive things happened in your week, Kathleen?
Okay, so you know Jimmy Dunn, famous Notre Dame alumni.
Uh huh.
He's a billionaire. Famously said golf saved. He started live golf. Famously always says that well, he always says alumni. He says a lot of things. Alumni Hall is the center of the universe. Um, he said golf famously saved his life because instead of being in the Twin Towers during 9/11, he was out trying to qualify for a golf tournament when the planes destroyed almost everybody he worked with in his investment firm.
Oh,
Um, so Jimmy Dunn gave the commencement 2 years ago. Um, I was on campus for the Golic Subpar in June, which is a charity event. I love supporting. Mike and Christine are classmates of mine, class of '85. And in the dumpster
nice.
behind alumni, I saw two transom windows. They were renovating the hall. And I got an employee to jump in there, take the transom windows out for me. And Jimmy Dunn became a collector. I mean, that's a great, good thing, right? I mean, he's been such a
That's
huge
amazing.
force for good. And Jimmy Dunn could not live without that transom window. So inside of it, I painted Alumni Hall, of course. But I love I often combine memorabilia with art, especially with Notre Dame, like you are with your jewelry. I love
Yeah.
painting on the Redwood Stadium benches. Um, I love painting on
Yeah.
marble removed from the Hesburgh Library. I do paintings of Corby on the slate
Yeah.
tile roof stuff. I mean, so and that a lot of that happens. I do paint on hubcaps from the 1932 Rockney Studebaker. So I love
Wow.
combining history with art. I think that's completely awesome.
I think that we should do a collab sometime in the future here.
Yeah, definitely. I have a lot of precious relics in my studio, and a lot of them are too small for me to really use. So I think that yeah, supporting. I think you and I could collab on some stuff.
Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. We'll take that offline. But hey, all you luckies out there and Kathleen Keifer fans, be ready for the duo that you never thought you'd see, but you didn't know you needed. That's awesome. No, that's really cool that you were able to stay connected to him. And I didn't know I looked him up. Yeah. My family, we lived in New Jersey at the time, in Montclair. And that's about 35 minutes away from the city. And my dad worked in the Morgan Stanley building that was two buildings away from the World Trade Center.
Oh wow,
And
yeah, no, I know
he
what
decided,
Montclair is. I mean, yeah.
yeah, he decided that he was going to go in late because he took my brother into daycare. And we thank God every day because you never know if you're just there or what craziness could have happened. But he was about to go on the ferry and they were sending everybody back because of all the pandemonium and craziness. But we had friends that passed away in those
Right.
experiences. We had friends that were there, and uh, I bet that he lives and works in honor of all those people that he used to work with and stuff. So
Well,
that's a
and
wild
well,
story.
when you talk about Jimmy Den and daycare, I think that we have to mention, in case one of our listeners doesn't know, that when 9/11 happened, and I think he lost 80 friends and employees that day. It's either the number 80 or 80% of his firm's personnel. I don't remember which way that goes,
Wow.
but Jimmy Dunn promised to put every single one of those kids who lost a parent that day through college, and he figured out how to do that. And I believe when he gave the commencement 2 years
Gosh.
ago, one of those kids who was in the audience graduating was one of the kids that was put through Notre Dame on the trust that Jimmy Dunn and the partners at his firm set up for all those kids who lost a parent.
Oh my gosh. Have you ever seen the show Billions?
I haven't.
So there's this guy named Bobby Axelrod that he kind of had a very similar story in the show, and I wonder if there was connection there where he lost a lot of friends in the World Trade Center, and so he was working on like the firefighter fund, and he got a lot of people through college and stuff. I bet there was probably some sort of inspiration on that story because that is movie storybook stories
Yeah,
right there.
yeah, it really is.
Oh, absolutely beautiful. That's amazing. I am glad that you were able to connect with him. On my end, highs of the week for me was I just went to Austin. I don't know if you've been to Austin, Texas before. I have one of my best buddies there, and Austin is such a cool city. Super outdoorsy. The people, the food, there's just a culture and an ambiance of people are happy to be there, especially in Texas.
Well, look, when my friends in book club in Manhattan Beach, when we've had too much to drink and we say how expensive it is living here, and we all say, let's move to Austin. Well, that's our plan. I mean, we've never done it, but
Do
that's
it.
what we say. That's what we say.
Hey, I'm down here in Houston, so if you ever make it down to Austin, we're not too far.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I was really happy to go visit my buddy, my best friend, and just to be able to hear about his life and just take a moment in a different setting. I think we all run around sometimes, and when you can catch up with somebody, especially one of your friends, that it doesn't matter if you haven't talked in a day or a month, you still jump right back into it like it's normal. So
No,
that was
yeah,
beautiful.
very good for the soul. I agree.
Yeah. Now we want to do a shout out of the week. So, do you have anybody that you'd like to recognize and appreciate this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna appreciate Isabella DeBona. I call her Isa. She's my protege, and she graduated from Notre Dame 2 years ago. And when I fly back to campus, she's right at my side, making everything work. And I was thinking to myself, if I didn't have Isabella picking me up at the South Bend Airport, I'm even staying at her house um, this weekend, and all the millions of details helping me pack up the show, and you know, I want her to be the most successful artist in the world, but sometimes um, she does things for me that aren't glamorous. Like she ships a lot of my art. She does fulfillment. Um, at my
Yeah.
art exhibition, she's running credit cards and things like that, and she does a lot of installations for me. But I can't be in two places at once, so I really, really appreciate Isa, class of 2021. You're an amazing artist and person, and I'm lucky to have you in my life.
Oh my gosh, shout out a protege, a connection. I bet that she has learned so much from you. That's a beautiful relationship.
It really is. I give her 10% of all the sales I make at Notre Dame, and what makes me happy, Carter, is writing her a big check. I want to write her big checks. I want her.
Yeah, right? Why not?
Yeah. I mean, you can't have any creative freedom unless you have economic freedom. And I don't want her getting a job at a frame store. I want her working on art and working on contacts 100% of the time.
Yeah. That's beautiful. And you're expecting to go up this week for the Wake Forest game. When you get into this feeling of, hey, I'm going to a game, do you have an idea of what you want to capture? Or is it of the spring of the moment? Is it because, like, hey, senior day? Or, like, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm telling you, Carter, this is the luck podcast because I feel like if you're open, the luck will find me. I mean, I so often have this feeling that I'm in the right place at the right time doing the right thing. And
Yeah.
that's when I think you feel really lucky when those things align. I'm with the right group. I'm supposed to be there. You have that feeling, that instinct, like, yes, everything's aligned.
Mm-hmm.
This is good. And I don't know when that moment will be. It could be at a tailgate. It could be during the game. I mean, I'd love to run into Sam and his parents after the game because I'm sure it's going to be very emotional for him. But, who
Totally.
knows if these things can work out, in the heat of the battle. So it's
Mm-hmm.
just going to happen. I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I know it's going to work out for me.
I love it. It's the positive attitude, and it's a manifestation. It's a building of growing and saying, like, it will happen. And I think even more so, like, Sam's 1 year here, I think that he's probably soaked it. I mean, not even a full year, I guess a half a year, but he's soaked that in. And we've all been able to enjoy his presence and, like, the impact he's had on campus. All the seniors too, just everybody that's made a true impact. You just got to get your coats and everything ready. You'll be ready.
Yeah. It's not going to be that cold. It's not going to be like Boston College last year. So I'm
Good.
I don't have to take as many coats.
Nice. My shout out of the week will be, I guess, Noah. Just being able to see Noah again, but there was a story where I was offered a potential dog, and my sister, she babysits for this family that is a wonderful family, and they have these two Portuguese little water dogs, and they're the biggest fluff balls you could ever imagine, but they're about to hit 8 months, and they're going through a little bit of a litter mate syndrome, where they're kind of angry at each other, fighting with each other. I never knew anything about that, right? I never knew that litter mate was a thing. I never knew it was something that dogs would, really have a problem with. And I was since they're in Charlotte and I'm in Houston, I'm going to be unable to take them. But I want to shout out the family because they're bringing in a trainer to hopefully bring those two dogs back together. And I don't know, you just hope that, like, the dogs can figure it out, and hopefully one day I do get a dog. So, small story around that.
Yeah. Hard decision. It's a big decision.
Yep. It's I think it's the next decision for me. I think at some point I'm gonna get a dog, but it's there's never a good time, I don't think. But just shout out to Riley, the pup that was almost my pup.
Riley, yay!
Yeah, Riley. All right, let's jump into some of the questions that we have here for the Managing Expectations. Ayo, this episode is sponsored and brought to you by CharmND. CharmND specializes in creating unique and authentic sterling silver vials and real items from around the Notre Dame campus. Each charm is carefully handmade and contains a little piece of the Fighting Irish spirit. Vials filled with dirt from the iconic main quad, pellets from the hollowed ground of the Notre Dame football stadium, wood shavings from the seats of the stadium, 24-karat golds from the Notre Dame football helmets, water from the serene St. Joseph's Lake, candle wax from the peaceful grotto, water from the Notre Dame reflecting pond, and holy water for added blessings Charms are priced at between $20 and $30 and can be customized to your needs as a necklace or a lucky charm. Check us out at charm_ND at Instagram. Our charms are a perfect gift for any Notre Dame fan or alum. So go Charm ND and go Irish. Now let's get back to the show. First, can you tell me just a little bit about your upbringing and career and how you came to painting and being an artist?
I mean, it was just clearly playing the hand I was dealt. I'm like the village idiot. I can't do a lot of other things, but I'm a very, very good painter. So, and I think as early as kindergarten, my teacher brought me home to my mom and saying, I have never seen anyone 5 years old do a painting this good. I mean, I was getting all this positive reinforcement that, wow, this is a real gift you have. And so, BFA at Notre Dame, I think it's the only thing I can do, Carter. That's simple.
You know what? Hey, that drives your passion, right? You don't have to worry about it too much. You just end up getting to be. That's beautiful.
I always feel like art gives me 2 endorphin hits. I get incredibly excited, and I get an endorphin hit every time I have a blank canvas and I create a painting, right? I mean, it's just like, wow, I still get so excited about that, even though I've made thousands of paintings. It doesn't matter. It's like, man, that thing on my easel right now, I am so flippin' excited about it. But then I get another endorphin hit when someone, of all the visual things they could hang on their walls, they said, I want that painting you did. It's incredibly gratifying. I mean,
it's so gratifying.
And it's astonishing. It's like a double endorphin hit. It's like, wow. Because my life doesn't make sense unless there's collectors who want to support
be a part
my
of
vision, my Capra-esque vision of Notre Dame and all of that. It doesn't make any sense. So, I call it the double endorphin hit for sure.
I love it. No, that's beautiful. So then if you were to describe your art in 5 words, or like the process of making that art, what 5 words comes to mind when you're in the zone?
I think I'm an artist who starts with color, and I get inspired by color. I just did a painting. The last painting I did was one of the chapel, the log chapel, and I wanted it to be evocative of the day Soren got there in 1842 in November, when he talked about how cold it was, but how pristine, and the white lake behind it. And so I know the history, but I think what inspired me about this painting was it was all about color, because I think color tells a story. So I used all these blues and blacks, and even the whites were sort of gray blues because it was a nighttime painting. And the only warmth was inside the log chapel. I had this beautiful sort of golden orange yellow light spilling out and reflecting onto that snow. But you can hear me talk about the painting. Yeah, there's history, there's composition, but I think what really, really is the catalyst for a lot of my paintings is a color idea.
Cool. Starting from color and building it out from there. Wow. So if you could give any sort of advice to either the aspiring artist or someone who's coming out of Notre Dame and moving into their life, what sort of things could you share with the lucky listeners?
Well, I mean, I think this is true of art, but it's true of other businesses too. Make a complete portfolio. You want to, as an artist, you don't want to have just sell only large paintings that cost $5,000. You want to be able to offer things that cost $100. You want to be able to show a breadth of things. And then you have to do your homework. You have to figure out where you're going to fit in. When I was approaching galleries, I'd always look at their stable of artists and see, well, how am I going to fit in? Am I repeating somebody they already have? I mean, we're talking about Notre Dame art, but probably what I'm most famous for is I have a palm tree series that I do in California, and
I love it. I love palm trees.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I grew up in Chicago, so, but it's like, I'm not going to a gallery my palm trees are their own thing now, because I've been doing it for 30 years. But I guess what I'm trying to say is you got to find that unique thing that you're doing that no one else is doing. And then galleries will want you, and collectors will want you.
I actually really embody that. Like, I think sometimes when people think about doing a podcast or doing something, they want to be able, I want to do it for the masses. What I've tried to do is just niche and build out, like, I want to do this for the Notre Dame alumni. I want to do this for the Notre Dame love and the connections there, and building that community from within, because that makes ripples. That makes changes at the end of the day.
No. And I love that. And you and I haven't had a time to talk personally because we're just meeting each other today, but there's this magical thing that happens at every art show, every tailgate, is you just have to start talking to someone on campus. It doesn't even matter if they're an alumni. They're just Notre Dame. They say adjacent or Subway or anything. And you just talk to them. And Carter, there's not 6 degrees of separation. I mean, within like a minute, it's like, oh, you went to school with my cousin, or we have the same godfather, or yeah, I dated your brother Larry. It's like, okay, it's like connectedness. It's like this one tiny little world that we're all bouncing around in.
Hey, and that's what we call the luck management lifestyle. It's a lifestyle. It's a go out every day, find something new and something excited to be about, go with speed. And I think that that's beautiful. So I know you're at a hard stop right here. So wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, we're available there. But just wanted to say thank you so much for coming on and being a part of the Luck Management
Thank
podcast.
you, Carter. I got to catch up with you. You and I have some business to do together, I'm sure. But I want you to, before we say goodbye, I want everyone to know I'm flying out to Notre Dame. I've got my art exhibition in the lobby of the Embassy Suites Thursday and Friday nights from 3 to 7. I'm going to be signing my book in the big bookstore, the one on campus, from 11:30 to 1 o'clock on Saturday. And then Saturday after we beat Wake Forest, I'm going to go walk back to the Embassy Suites, and I'll be there for probably about an hour or two. And then on Sunday, and you can meet Charming Isabella will be there, so that's always a bonus. And on Sunday,
beautiful,
the last tango, we're going to be packing up the show, and on Sunday, so I'll be there most of Sunday, which is unusual, from like 10 to 3 or however long it takes us. So Sunday's another very good time to stop by, because I'm going to be emotional, and I'm going to be you probably get a deal from me on Sunday, because it's less to pack.
Good. Well, I will try and I'm going to get this out on Thursday morning, so then everybody will know your schedule, and when you repost or put the podcast out, everybody will be able to hear and come and visit you and learn a little bit more and get a deeper purview of the artist that you are.
Yay.
So it's been an absolute pleasure, and I appreciate it. So keep living the luck management lifestyle. Peace.